It's Fetta Facts with Jerry Fetta, CEO of Philanthro Wealth. I want to share with you a undercover, not so undercover, but kind of undercover billionaire, somebody that you do not suspect on what I'm going to share with you today. The level of consistency here is insane, and I want to use this as an example for our own wealth building journey, so check it out. Hey again, Jerry Fetta here, back again with another Fetta Facts, all facts, no opinions, and I want to talk to you about the Forbes list, right? So the Forbes list, I'm going to go ahead and pull it up on my browser because I was looking at this today and it was incredible to me what I saw on this list. And this is something that doesn't get talked about enough, I think. And I think it kind of gets downplayed. Good, here we go. Let me share my screen on this and we're going to talk about this because this is a very, very important point. So we got the Forbes list. This is top billionaires in the country by net worth. And of course, we have Elon Musk right now in the top spot, right? And so you can see, Forbes history. He first made the list in 2019, and he's climbed each year since, right? And this doesn't mean that he is the top spot in each of these years. It just means he's on the list. Those are his net worth statements for those years. You can then see like Jeff Bezos again, right? And so you can kind of see the history there as well. Now, there are different types of wealth here. And I think it's important to highlight. I was talking with someone a couple years back and they were like, and I saw them actually after this, I saw them post and they were like, this new way of building money, like new money. And it's kind of the Elon Musk approach, right? Having very volatile assets that have a lot of potential for upward mobility. But Elon will tell you himself that his net worth means almost nothing. Right? Where he's like, it's just paper. It's numbers on paper. Is it there? Is it substantiated? Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. But it's not like he has, for this figure, for example, it says 244 billion. I think it's a little higher today if we were to go check it. But 244 billion, it's not like he has $244 billion accessible. Right? And I think that this conversation is important to have. In Musk's position, he is financially independent, right? Like he does have enough net worth that he can sell off assets to generate the income he needs without doing anything else, right? Like even if you're not number one on the Forbes list, if you have more than $10 million in assets that are producing something, pretty much you would be there where you're like, okay, I don't have to work anymore if I don't want to, right? Wealthiest position on the entire list is like, almost nobody needs that. And I'm not saying from like a standpoint of like, the rich can eat their hearts out or any of that weird stuff. No, I'm saying like, what would you and I have a reason to have $244 billion for? Like, what would be the purpose of that? Because at a certain level, all of your needs are met. Personally, you don't need anything more. For your family, they don't need anything more. You're donating lots of money to your church or your charities or whatever it is that you care about. Those bases are pretty much covered. So somebody who keeps climbing has a certain level of ambition that goes beyond just meeting their own personal needs and their own personal security. Somebody who climbs into the top 10 is even further with ambition. I would say at that point, it's like more of like a chip on their shoulder or it's a power move. They want power and influence. Somebody who gets to the top spot does not do that accidentally. That is an intentional strive that they made and accomplished. And it's a massive feat. It's impressive. I'll give you that. Okay. But I'm saying that is like the needle in the haystack, like the wealthiest person in the entire world. Hey, you want to see a magic trick? Get a copy of my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. I know it's in front of my chest and my face because I want you focusing on the book and not me for a moment before you go back to focusing on me and the content. Right? Even second, Jeff Bezos, he's not far behind, right? Same thing, like you get there on purpose. There's a reason why someone is there. Now the problem though, and I'm just gonna focus on Musk for example, the problem with the way Musk has built his net worth for the average everyday person, we look at this and we're like, that's the wealthy. We should emulate the wealthy. We hear these things that people tell us, oh, just copy the wealthy, look what they do, right? So if you were to copy what Musk did, you would need to invent PayPal. You would need to sleep on the floor of a Tesla factory. You would need to be working 100-hour weeks. You would be needing to basically be willing to go bankrupt back in 2019 when Tesla almost went under. Like, if you look at what has this man gone through to get where he is, it wasn't comfortable. It was not a quality of life play that he was going for at all. And so I think for probably like 80 to 90% of people, maybe even 95% of people, quality of life is your most important box to check off, where it's like, I want to enjoy my life. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. And I'm telling you that unless you are wired like someone like Musk, you're not going to enjoy your life pursuing that path, right? And you're not going to have more freedom for a while pursuing that path. Musk probably had less freedom. Today, because of his fame and notoriety, he has to go around with bodyguards. That's less freedom, not more freedom. Okay, and so there's a difference between like building influence and power, which is really what's happening here. This is no longer wealth. Wealth already happened. Realize the wealth box got checked a long time ago. So just financial independence and wealth, done. Like in the millions still, before he even hit the billion number. When you get to the billion number, it's influence and it's power. Okay? There's always going to be a disagreement on the priority of living life because of the attention you have from others or want to have from others, and freedom. Someone who wants freedom, the more freedom they have, the less they're dependent on others. The less they care what others think, the less they have to have an audience, the less they want to be attached to people's opinions and wants and needs. Someone who is fully on the freedom side, like they're like, dude, I just do it my way. If I want to do it, I do it. I don't think about it. I don't consult anyone. I just do it. That's ultimate freedom. Okay? The more you come over to this side, and we can whiteboard this out really quick just to give the visual, but I want to pull this Forbes list back up again because I think it's important, right? So over here, if we were to look at this as, kind of a gradual approach from one side to the other, over here we have freedom, and over here we have influence or popularity. And I say or because they're not necessarily the same thing. Okay, so I want you to think about this. Freedom, example, single dude, no wife, no kids, lots of money. Okay, that guy can pretty much do whatever he wants to do. If he wants to move, he can move. If he wants to travel, he can travel. If he wants to buy a car, he can buy a car. If he wants to, do anything, get a dog, whatever it might be, that person can do that. Why? Because he is not dependent upon his influence with others or popularity. What others think doesn't matter, right? He's not looking to impress. So he's all the way over here on this side. Now, you can move further into the middle here. Family person, right? You have to consider, well, what is my spouse going to think of this? How does this impact my kids? What about my church and my community? Like there's more influence and popularity and other people's needs and opinions associated, the freedom goes down, right? And I'm not saying that that's bad. I'm saying that that's a point. Now you get all the way over here to where Elon is at, where he basically is like a presidential level figure in society, right? That's the level of repute and notoriety that he has, right? And we could probably erase influence and popularity and just put this under notoriety, right? Just to really dial in what it is we're discussing here. It would be more in the notoriety category, right? Think about celebrity status. Like, yeah, you have lots of money and power and influence, but you also have less freedom than the guy who doesn't have to think about who knows him, who's following him, who's taking pictures, who's going to quote what he said. All of that stuff matters the more notoriety you have, right? And there's good and bad to both of them. So I'm not making an argument for be, completely free and have no responsibility to anyone. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying there is a scale here. And it's important to look at, where do you want to be on the scale, right? So someone like Elon over here, like extreme notoriety, extreme influence, extreme popularity, right? His freedom is very little, right? Like you burp and it goes on the news. You're being quoted everywhere. You've got bodyguards. The freedom is not the same at that point. Right? And so I think it's important to look at this. Okay, this is a thing we could strive for. I want notoriety. I need an audience. I want influence. Good. I am going to have to give up my own personal freedom to some degree to appease what's wanted and needed from those that I want notoriety and influence with. because their needs might not be the things I want to need, and I need to be willing to cater to them. Just like if you're a business, you cater to your customers. What do they want? Not what do you want, what do they want? If you base your business off what you want, you're not gonna have customers for long, right? So there's two different sides you can swing to here. So back to the Forbes list. Now, the other thing I want to point out here is that Elon has built his wealth based on appreciation, which means he's buying assets that can go up in price. And if he were to sell them at that price, he would have a profit. If they go down, which they can go down very rapidly, why? Because they're not based on intrinsic value. Intrinsic value is what's being produced, what's backing it. So a lot of his assets are riding the coattails of his notoriety. Because he's so popular, more people invest in Tesla. If Elon Musk lost his popularity, or they had a different CEO and founder who wasn't as popular, and Tesla had the same business model, that stock would not do as well. It's his brand, it's his image, right? And so that image and brand doesn't throw off a lot of cash flow. He's had to take loans against his stock, right? Because he didn't have cash flow. He's mentioned that before. So you have, okay, I buy a thing and it goes up in price and I try and sell it to someone else at a profit to make my money, to then have liquidity to enhance my quality of life. That's a model. That's the appreciation model. Now, I want to scroll down a little bit. We've got some other people on this: Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, Larry Ellison. But let's look at this, Warren Buffett. Okay, Warren Buffett. So Warren Buffett is not number one. He has been before. I had seen someone a couple years ago that was like, the Warren Buffett way of building wealth is dying, right? This fundamental investing and value investing, it's dying and it's going out. And Warren Buffett has cash flow. He invests in companies that produce income, and that income pays him. Now, here's the thing. Warren Buffett has been top 10 on the Forbes list every single year since it was invented. First year was 1985, and he's been in the top 10 every single year. Sometimes number one, sometimes not number one, but the guy is always there. Okay, that's unmatched. Nobody has ever done that before. Hey, what's up? Jerry here. I just wanted to give you another reminder. Grab my book, Blueprint to Financial Freedom. It's going to be one of the best books you have ever read on finance. I can promise you that. You're going to love it. It's also a free offer. So if you go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, you can get that now. And so there's something to be said for like volatility and net worth. Like, sure, making it to the top spot, that's awesome. Warren did it in a way that you could do it. Like, he bought things, invested in things that produced income, and then took all of the returns from that and bought more things that produced income and just kept stacking and stacking and stacking. And so he didn't become a billionaire until his 50s, right? Which is still like impressive. Okay. But he's been there since 1985 on the Forbes list. Think about that, like that level of consistency. And he's not like volatile in his net worth at all. And if he was, it wouldn't matter because his assets pay him. Okay. This is important. This is such an important point. When you're building wealth, especially if you are not an Elon, where you're like changing the world with an idea and you're willing to work for nothing for 10 years and eat scraps and sleep on floors and possibly go bankrupt. If you're watching that, more power to you. Like if you're watching this and that's you, almost nobody's like that. Okay. Most of you, if you're watching, you're like, I want to build wealth and I want to also spend time with my family and I also want to travel and I also want to enjoy my life and I also want to, like be happy on a day-to-day basis and not feel like I'm, trapped all the time and almost going to die or almost going to fail or have everything blow up. So if you're doing that, you have to do it through income producing assets. Okay. So you buy an asset, let's take a house, for example. That house pays you every single month. Every single month. And what you've done is you've taken your value and you've exchanged your value for energy. Money is energy. Just like food is energy. You bring it in, you can use it. You can burn it off and use it on different things. Money is not value. The things we exchange for money, that's value. The things we exchange money for in order to get in return, that's value. Money is energy. So you're taking your value, the things you produce, and exchanging that for energy. You need to take that energy and you need to exchange it for value that also produces energy. That's what Warren Buffett has done. And as this keeps paying you, you're taking this new energy and you're exchanging it back for the same thing that produced it in the first place. And you're doing that over and over and over and over. And what ends up happening is you buy your time. You produce income not dependent on your effort. Okay? Make no mistake about it, Elon's wealth is 100% dependent on his effort. He does not have financial freedom the way Warren Buffett does. Warren Buffett could stop doing anything and he would still continue to get cash flow from Coca-Cola and Dairy Queen and See's Candy and Geico and all these other businesses he owns that are productive. If Elon were to stop doing what Elon does, Tesla would crash, SpaceX would crash. Like all the stuff that he's doing, it's because he's the one behind it. It's his brand, it's his face, it's his recognition, it's his notoriety. Okay? That is a form of active. Even though on paper, you're like, oh, that's stocks and it's passive and this and that. Look at the amount of time he puts into it. It's very active. Now, I'm not telling you it's passive income, because again, we're removing that word from our vocabulary here at Philanthroworld. We have residual income. So Buffett buys Coca-Cola once and it pays him all the time now. Okay? With Tesla, Elon can't do an action once and Tesla stock will keep going up. He has to keep over and over and over doing it and doing it and doing it and doing it in order for Tesla stock to go up. It's not residual income. And so there's not a right or a wrong here, but what I'm pointing out to you in this video is understand what is the effect you're trying to create in your life with wealth. And if it's freedom, like freedom where it's like I can do what I want, when I want, with who I want, how I want to do it, and I'm not restricted, then you need to be less dependent on the notoriety and the influence, and you need to be more dependent on like residual income sources that aren't based on you. The more it's based on you, the less freedom you're going to have. Right? And freedom is not the same as power, and it's not the same as influence. Me being able to fly in a private jet doesn't mean I'm free. Me having 100 million followers on social media doesn't mean I'm free. Me being able to say, I don't want to do that, so I'm not gonna. Or I do want to do that, so I'm gonna, and having nothing interfere with those statements, that's freedom. And I think that that's a different conversation, and I think that that's the right conversation, because most people watching this don't want to be an Elon, they don't want to be a Jeff Bezos, they don't even want to be a Warren Buffett. Like if you were like trying to climb the ladder to be 5 on the Forbes list, you probably wouldn't enjoy it that much. You would be doing it already if that was your goal, right? But in your own way, you can do the micro version of that. You can invest in wonderful assets that pay you residual income and continue to store those cash flows up into other things that pay you more residual income, and you can achieve in your own world the kind of freedom Warren Buffett's built with his net worth. Because at the end of the day, for Elon to get liquidity, he's got to sell assets. He has to get rid of the very thing that makes him richer. Warren doesn't. Warren hangs on to what he's got, doesn't need to sell it, takes the income. If he wants some of it, he can have it. If he doesn't need it, he reinvests it. And that's the difference between influence and power and real financial freedom. I hope this video was helpful. Thank you for watching. This has been Fetta Facts. Like, share, subscribe. I'll see you next time. Hey, this is Jerry Fetta here. I want to thank you for watching my video, watching my content. I hope you enjoyed it. If you would like to learn more about the blueprint to financial freedom and how you can achieve passive income that exceeds your savings, your expenses, your taxes, your generosity, and build wealth like the top 1%, I want to encourage you, grab a copy of my book, The Blueprint to Financial Freedom. You can go to jerryfetta.com/B2F promo, or you can click the link in the description of the video here. The copy is free. You cover your shipping. We'll send the book out to you, and we'll send you an email with a bunch of great bonus material also for free. Get the book, subscribe to the channel. I'll see you on my next content.